Welcome back to another episode, the Sporting Crashers Podcast. How's it going, everybody? Episode 7. Can you imagine? We're here. Hey, thanks for being patient. I really do respect everybody that's been reaching out asking when's episode 7 dropping. Well, here we go. We're going to go ahead and finalize this episode, and we're going to go ahead and make sure that everybody is well tuned for the 2024 takeover coming real soon. We do have one more episode coming up this year in 2023. It's going to be in the November, December area. But I did want to start off with giving a shout out to my sponsor, Jessica Holland. She's actually of Keller Williams Realty. So any questions you need in terms of real estate, purchasing, refinances, things of that nature across the country, please give her a shout out. A call, a text, all of her contact information is on our Instagram page. Please go ahead and look forward to that. 2 episodes away from 2024. Crazy, right? So this show, we actually have 2 special guests. Very excited about them. If you live in the DFW area, Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas, you know who exactly these 2 are. First up is the XFL reigning champion Arlington Renegades, Mr. Bunmi Rotimi. He's going to be on. We're going to catch up with him, see how obviously it was to experience a championship and then the preparation on the offseason going into the 2024 season. So I'm excited to talk to him a little bit more in detail. And then, of course, I gotta tell you how excited I am to have Floyd. Not only an in-game entertainer, but you've seen her at the Frisco Rough Riders, affiliate of the Texas Rangers, SMU Mustangs, the football games, and then, of course, the Allen Americans hockey team. So looking forward to speaking to Floyd, getting to catch up on, her style. Little bit of a spoiler alert, she loves music, so we'll talk a little bit about that. But stay tuned. Episode 7, let's get this going. Thank you for holding, everybody. How's it going? Eric Martinez back here, the Sporting Crashers Podcast, episode 7. I am very excited to have this next individual person on my show. Not only is he the 2023 XFL champion, Arlington Renegades, Bunmi Rotimi. Thanks for being on the show, man.
Yeah, thank you for having me, man. Happy to be here. I appreciate
Absolutely.
the
Well,
introduction.
you had yourself a good year, man. So for all our listeners and subscribers that might not be familiar, not only with the XFL and football, but tell us a little bit about your background, your culture in terms of how you got involved in playing and achieving something that was great that a lot of people didn't really see, except the fan base here in DFW Arlington.
Yeah, nah, for sure. I actually didn't start playing football until I was 14 years old. Um Pretty much growing up, whenever I was out with my mom, people would be like, "Does he play football? You should come out and play football." And didn't really have the money for it and just pretty much didn't get into it until freshman year of high school. And so that was the first time that I played it, and I kind of just slowly over time ended up falling in love with it. I started out as the O lineman, eventually junior year got switched to D line, and that's when I really like started to love playing the sport. Um, I ended up being a walk on at Old Dominion,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm actually kind of grateful for it because I kind of feel like that instilled in me lessons that have kind of helped me get to this point. One year after being at ODU, I ended up getting a full ride scholarship, earned it, and then just kind of like taking that kind of like chip on my shoulder mentality throughout my football career has kind of just led up, to where I am now.
Yeah, I respect that. So that's perfect segment because I want to ask. There's a lot of players right now that are transitioning from high school to college, junior college to maybe play Division 1, Division 2. What advice would you give them based on your process that you just have you've been through? You know what I mean? So just kind of like anything that you can give them in terms of just those little nuggets that keep in the back of your mind as late summer camps wrap up and the season starts coming around.
Yeah, no, definitely. I would say take care of your body. Everybody knows work hard. I would add on to that work smart. Um, One lesson that you hear a lot of pros throw around is your best ability is your availability. So if you're not
Mm-hmm.
taking care of your body, if you're not working smart and making sure that you can actually play, you're doing yourself a disservice. So that's number one. Um, Another thing that I would say is to trust yourself. I think during kind of like stressful moments like that, I know
Hmm.
this happened with me, is kids will like doubt themselves or not have full confidence in themselves, and you can't really play to the best of your ability or like put out the type of film and play that you want to put out if you're really not trusting yourself throughout the whole process, if that makes sense, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's important, man. Confidence is key, but also the fact of, like I always say, work smart. You work
Hmm.
hard, but you always work smart and get there. Yeah. So, in your workouts nowadays, or based off of your experience in other sports that you might have dabbled into, what are certain things? Because I know I have a lot of friends that play high school, or their sons or nephews play high school youth ball. Other things that you can incorporate, or if you've incorporated in other sports, boxing. I know a lot of defensive linemen, linebackers like to kind of
Hmm.
engage in all kinds of different sports. What are some sports that kind of helped you out, or ones that you've kind of incorporated in your workouts nowadays?
Yeah, yeah. So when I was in high school, basketball was something that
Uh huh.
really helped with my athleticism. I had also not played basketball until I played for the first time in high school, my sophomore year. All my friends would just ask me to play, saying it'd be fun, and I was pretty bad at it. But just playing it kind of just teaches
Yeah.
you how to use your body in other ways that you might not have been able to see while just playing football, you know? So
Right.
playing basketball, when I came back to football, I was just like a completely different athlete just off of that. And another thing that I like to do, this one is more recent. I didn't start doing this till about 3 years ago, is a martial
Mm-hmm.
art called Wing Chun. And
Okay.
that's something that has really just helped with like my hand precision and kind of just
Okay.
my overall play in general. You know, something, one of the like biggest teachings from Wing Chun is to relax, be relaxed. A lot of people are tense. They think about the violence of the sport, and a lot of people are over tense, but you can be powerful. You can be even more powerful when you learn how to relax. So I would say those two things really helped elevate football for me a lot.
Yeah, I respect that. I respect that. I grew up playing soccer. So
Yeah.
most of the time, whenever I'm watching, basketball players, football players that have great footwork, especially
Yeah.
like when I used to see Hakeem Olajuwon, 'cause Hakeem Olajuwon's footwork with the Rockets was just like, and I would always ask myself, well, he's got to have some type of background.
Hmm.
What did he do? What did he do for the footwork? Sure enough, growing up, that's what he played. He played soccer, a lot of footwork, a lot of
Hmm.
abilities like that. Growing up, what particular type of athletes that you influence you the most? It didn't have to be football, just any type of athlete that you looked up to. Like, yeah, that's my inspiration. That's the person that that you looked up to the most.
Yeah, I'd probably say I hadn't really found anyone while I was playing in high school, but I say when I got to college, the person who sticks out to me is a football player, Aaron Donald. He's just
Okay.
someone,
Yeah.
like as soon as I like saw the way that he played the game, I just fell in love with it. Honestly, it wasn't I guess you could say it wasn't like necessarily the strictest way to play football. He just goes out there and he just dominates.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I said he didn't play the strictest version of football, but I think something that people don't give him a lot of credit for is the amount of technique that's incorporated into his game. Like he's a ridiculous athlete, but he's also a technician. And so a saying that you hear often is hard work, or yeah, sorry, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. But he's the
Yep.
example of
Love that.
both of those things coming together. You know, he has the talent and he works hard, and so his game is something that I love.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. I got a lot of family members that are originally from Long Beach, Los Angeles, so they're huge
Yeah.
Rams fans. So they're gonna say the exact same thing that you say every single time. And the last few years, we always talk about like who's the best player in the NFL. He's
Yeah,
always at the top of the
yeah.
conversation. Just his motor and the ability. But like you just said, exactly, that's an underrated skill that he has. He's a perfectionist because he
Hmm.
perfects his tactics, the way he goes about the game.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
not
perfect.
100%.
Yeah. So we're around that time right now with this recording that we're doing that a lot of players are either reporting to training camp or,
Mm.
getting the invitations to kind of explore. And then there's those that guarantee contracts that are going. I know you've participated in some training camps, and I'm sure, what you actually ended up doing Old Dominion and going like that. What's some things that you kind of took away from that in terms of how now that you prepare yourself for a season and certain things, I don't want to say mistakes, but certain experiences that you learn from that you can say, hey, you know what, this is something that I used to do, or guys that are going, some advice that you can give them.
Yeah, I think it's really one thing in particular that kind of just echoes throughout my career as I've gotten older and older, and that's kind of just relaxing.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, like everything can get so stressful with the way training camp is, and you can you can almost burn out before training camp even starts, just from worrying about this, that, or the third. And I think I would just say like it's okay to relax. It's okay to strategically incorporate whatever your hobbies are in a way that it gives you like that outlet, so that when you have to go to practice, when you have to do your training, or as soon as camp starts, like you're ready to go and do that, and you can give it your all, and then
Right.
you reset, and then you come back, you give it your all. And I think some people, they take too much of the stresses and work back home with them, and I think
Right.
it hurts more
Yes.
than it helps.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. That's true. I've seen it a lot. A lot of people that I talk to all the time were always anticipating Hard Knocks and those kind of shows and things like
Yeah.
that. And we see a lot of the fun side of the training camps, fun side of
Hmm.
of the sports. For you, what type of music do you like in terms of workouts, or do you like playing music, or like what's one of those that, because again, I know a lot of them are like, hey, it gets me jacked up and ready to work out, and some are just like, hey, it just frees my mind and I just focus on the
Yeah.
work.
Now, so when we're talking like game time or going out to practice, then I'm listening
Mm-hmm.
to pretty much anything hip hop, like Lil Baby,
Yep.
Future, Drake, all that type of stuff. Like it just gets me in a real nice, feel good type of mood. I'll say I'm probably like half and half with, in terms of like listening to something that's really getting me hype, or listen to something that's just kind of like getting me like like feeling good, just like vibing with whatever I got going on, whatever type of mood I got going on for practice. But recently in my workouts and training during the off season, I actually don't listen to music anymore. If it's like playing in the gym or whatever that I'm working out at, cool. But
Yeah.
I don't have headphones in anymore. It's just, and I've been enjoying it a lot. It's
Okay.
sometimes I hear you can kind of develop a little bit of a like dependency on that type of stuff to like, get you in the mood, get you in the zone.
That's
So
true. I've heard
it's
about that.
kind
Yep.
of, if I'm on the field and I'm not going to be able to listen to music, do I really need to revolve every single training session around listening to music to get me in that mode, And so I've been enjoying sometimes not listening
Exactly.
to it, and then if it's available during game time, I'll listen to it.
Man, that's key. That's true. Well, I had the pleasure of covering you guys this year, Arlington
Yeah.
Renegades, with the media company that I work with. And first of all, it was an absolute pleasure. You guys, since game one against the Vegas Vipers, I knew something was special about this team. Talk to me about the conversations, the mood, the swagger in the locker room late in the year, because it seems to me that there was just that moment that it just turned on. You started playing mistake-free football. It was just something that every member of the staff, the players, you guys were just all on the same page, and it was like
Yeah.
nobody in this league is going to beat you guys. Talk to me about that.
Yeah. So I think, so like you said, it seemed like it was a moment, to everyone who was looking from the
Mm-hmm.
outside in. But for us, that was just the steady buildup of what we had been working towards the entire season. So for us in the locker room, win or lose, we knew that we hadn't played our best football. And that's what we were always talking about whenever we were having our meetings as players. We were saying, like, that's not our best stuff. There's so much better
Mm-hmm.
that we can do. And I think that just like that progression through the season, trying to just search for our football, coming together as a team, just slowly that came along during the season. And then when we got to, end of the year, there was a lot of
Mm-hmm.
close games. It's not like we
Yeah.
were just getting blown out. There were close games. And then,
Right.
playoffs. I mean, a lot of teams, you see it through all sports. A lot of teams change as soon as playoffs come around. So, as
Exactly.
soon as playoffs hit and it was win or go home, I think that might have been that little extra bit that really had us turn everything up and just like put everything together.
I agree 100%. Uh, just real quick, if you want to tap in, talk to me about the experience of Coach Stoops. Just the presence and presence of mind and having the capability of explaining, hey, I've been there before.
Yeah.
Keeping the calm, keeping the cool, and weathering the storm. Because that's what exactly you explained it perfectly. I
Hmm.
kept on saying it's like they're weathering the storm and they get to playoffs and it's anybody's game.
Yeah. Nah, Stoops was amazing to work with. I love Stoops as a coach. He was like a player's coach, like he
Mm-hmm.
listened to what all of us had to say. And I think that really made the difference throughout the entire season. You got some coaches that are too lax with players. You got some coaches that are real hardballs with players, real strict. And I think Stoops knew
Right.
when to be each of those elements of coaches. I think he had a great blend. He would listen to us, and then he knew when to get on us. He knew when he had to turn things up to get certain play out of us. And I mean, he never faltered the entire season. Like, there was never any shred of doubt in his mind of what we could be, what we could do. Like, the entire season, he was all in with us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, talk to me about, have you ever had that moment where you're going up against somebody, whatever the case may be, high school, college, or even here in the XFL, or even at a training camp? You go up against somebody and you're just like, oh man, this guy's just a straight natural baller, and you took so much from that experience that it just stays in your mind, like that's that moment. You know what I mean? When like
Yeah,
we always talk about major league pitchers, they give up
yeah,
that first home run, but it might have been a Barry Bonds, and they're like, this is the time that I made it. You know,
yeah, yeah. I would say talking about players that you just like, dang, he's that guy. I'd say Tyron Smith.
just anybody in general. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Tyron Smith. When I played him, when we played the
Mm,
Cowboys, um, that was one of the first games where I got as much play time as I did,
yeah.
and it was just honestly so much fun for me, man. Like, he's just so good at the game, even whatever age he is, however many seasons he's been playing, he's still that guy. And it was just like something that I just love about football is the competitiveness of it. So just getting to compete against one of the best future Hall of Famer, it was just like one of the most fun experiences that I've had playing football, just getting to go up against them. But I mean, like, just everything from like his sets, his hands, the way that he was playing, like, I mean, he's an amazing player. And the the thing the thing that I really took away from that is kind of like whenever I line up against somebody or whenever I'm sort of like visualizing as I'm going about my training, I'm like picturing beating somebody at his caliber. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
if I'm not going against him, then I shouldn't be losing to anybody. Like, he kind of like set a standard in my mind.
I respect that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one thing that I always admire is when athletes or those that have a platform, they use it for great things in life, right? Activists in the
Hmm.
community, being a leader in general. So the first thing I definitely respect all the contributions that you did for the Arlington Classics Academy that you
Yeah.
did while you were with the Arlington Renegades. So talk to me about that experience and a lot of the community projects that you have coming up here, because I know you're definitely somebody that I always hear when they, talk about yourself, not only your accolades on the field, but also how involved you are in the community.
Yeah, nah, getting to work with the school is amazing, man. I just love working with kids. I love being able to kind of just like set an example for them, and it's always just fun getting to work with them. Something that I actually got to do recently was work with a friend of mine, Tyler Medikevich. I got to work his football camp, and that was that was also an amazing time, just getting to work with all those kids. And I don't necessarily have anything set in stone scheduled, but anytime that I can support anything in the community, anything local, I'm there. I know there was one company, Sweat Equity. It's
Mm-hmm.
a it was this place where you can pretty much do a whole bunch of recovery type stuff. And I got to go there when I was in San Antonio before the championship game, and
Yeah.
I was able to work with them a bit, do a little promo with them, and anytime I'm in a town and get to go to a recovery spot and get to tell them who I am, why I'm there, that's always a fun way to work with the local community. And then um, another thing that I like to do to support local is honestly any food spots that I
Mm-hmm.
can get to is always a fun way that I like to support.
Well, we respect that, man. We'll be looking forward to a lot of different endeavors that you have in the community, especially
Yeah,
DFW. So we're celebrating with you, not only the championship, but being a leader, man. I appreciate that for
yeah,
real. Um, yeah, so one thing I wanted to touch base on is right now we're in the preparations for the 2024 season. So I know that they had hosted something for the HBCU. They're doing a combine and things like that
yeah.
for the XFL. Talk to me about opportunities like that and certain things going into this season, not just a preparation standpoint, but certain things that intrigue you about, what you guys went through and to not just, obviously get in the mindset of we got the targets on our back now, but just coming in and seeing something that's the most interesting for you when it comes to, basically on the pace to repeat, pretty much.
Yeah, no, 100%. With the HBCU showcase, that's just an amazing
Mm-hmm.
opportunity that, those schools aren't always getting, or people in general aren't always getting to showcase their talents. So shout out to the XFL for giving them that opportunity that isn't always available to everybody. Um, and I think that's something that interests me a lot about the league in general is just
Mm-hmm.
everyone getting the opportunity to go out and show what they can do, especially moving forward. After having such a great first year in XFL 3.0, I don't think it's a question of will you be seen or will you get the right exposure. Everybody knows that now, so I think that creates like a sort of confident hunger in everybody
That's
as
right.
they're trying to get into this league and trying to be the ones that get to go out there and show what they can do. So I'm just excited for that to just kind of keep growing. And as far as moving into next season, that feeling of us, the Arlington Renegades, having that target on our backs, I think we just kind of still have that chip on our shoulder. Like I think
Yeah,
people
I like that.
still honestly think we got lucky, snuck into the playoffs and caught people off guard. So nobody should be off guard this next season. So when we do it
Sure.
again, nobody will have anything to say. And I think that's just kind of how
Exactly.
we're moving forward.
I like that. Yeah, man, that's perfect, man. That's a great way to think about it.
Yeah,
Absolutely. So you being here in Dallas Fort Worth, DFW area, Metroplex, What are some of your spots, man? Your go-to food spots that you're just like, man, I gotta have. Because I know there's a few of them, man. I'm originally from California,
Yeah.
so if we want to talk about the Bay Area and spots, I'll go all day long. But here in DFW, I got some spots too, man. What do you like as far as what
Yeah,
you
I'm gonna
gotta
need your
have?
recommendations, but the couple of spots that
You
I
know
ended
it.
up frequenting with the little free time that I would get is this actual small little local sandwich shop called The Hive. I'm not sure if you heard
Oh,
of
okay.
that one, but I couldn't.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, it's hard to even really say what makes them so great because I mean you hear sandwich shop and it's like, oh, it's just sandwiches, but I mean the little twists that they do on all their options and the
Mm-hmm.
care that they all put into making the sandwiches, that was probably that was my number one spot while down there. And then there was
Nice.
two other spots that were real close by. One of them was Hurtado. They were always good to me. That was just
Oh
good
yeah.
old barbecue. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then another spot was Cane Rosso. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, but that was like a little pizza
Oh
spot.
yes.
Yeah,
The
that
pizza
was a
spot.
good
Yep, the
spot too.
pizzeria.
But and
Yeah.
then I mean there's a couple other restaurants that I got to go to, but all the food down there is just amazing. But I say those are my big three off the top of my head.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So you were so around the XFL season. Did you get a chance to check any? I know Cowboys games not maybe so much. Did you check any of the sports teams, Mavericks, Stars, anything
Yeah,
like that?
unfortunately I didn't get a chance to make it out to any of the local sports games, but hopefully next time I'm down there I'll get around to get to seeing those.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. That's one thing that I respect of the DFW area. A
Yeah,
lot of the athletes from different teams are always
yeah,
interacting. I cover the Dallas Wings right now, so I'm always seeing Cowboy players and the Mavericks, JaVale McGee, Theo Pinson, all of them. They're
yeah.
always at the game, so it's always great to see they got the local support from the teams and fans and everything like that. So yeah, man. Well, I appreciate you being on the show, man.
Yeah,
Seriously.
absolutely.
I look forward to what you got going on this next year. So let me know how fans can kind of reach out to you as far as any type of social media plugs, websites, anything you got going on. Because we're excited, man. We're excited for this next season. So we're building up this next, this next season is going to be. I know for a fact. I think attendance is probably going to double or triple, man.
Yeah, nah, 100%. And if you I'm on Instagram and Twitter, so you can follow me on Instagram at Big Boom, BIGBOOM, as in Mary, underscore 44. And then you can also follow me on Twitter, underscore 44. It's spelled FORTY, then the number four, and then another underscore. Um, yeah, those are the two probably main platforms that I'm on.
I appreciate that. Real quick before I go, man, couldn't get you off of the show without asking. I know you're going to be working this entire late summer, early fall, or
Yeah,
early winter. NFL coming up, man. You know what I mean? I know you're going to be tapped in and tuned in.
yeah.
Who you looking forward to as far as you got that back of your mind, gut feeling? Who's that team that might not win it all, but it's going to sit there at least get to the Super Bowl?
Honestly, first first thing that comes to my mind is Eagles.
Right?
I think even though they made it to the Super Bowl, it's kind of similar to us. Even though they made it to the Super Bowl, nobody really thinks that they should have been there. Like no one has them projected to
Yeah.
go back or like perform as well as they did. Like people almost look at it as like a fluke. So I think
Mm-hmm.
almost no, like a lot of those guys are upset about that.
Yeah, it's almost like what happened with the in the Niner game. It was like, oh, it's just by default they moved on,
Uh
and I
huh.
mean, and again, no disrespect to the Chiefs, played a great Super Bowl game, but Eagles had control first half. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It was just a matter of a tale of two halves, just like in every sport, just like in football. That's how it goes. So
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, man, I appreciate that. I'm gonna lock
Not
that
for
in. I
sure.
know that you didn't say Super Bowl chance, but you said don't be surprised if they're there. So, Anyway, man, we'll be tapping in during the season. I'm gonna be covering you guys again next year, man. So it's a pleasure, and thanks for being
Yeah,
on the Sporting Crashers podcast.
100%. Appreciate you having me, man.
Absolutely, anytime. Fans, we'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Eric Martinez, host of the Sporting Crashers podcast. She does not need any introduction. If you're in DFW and have caught her at any games, Floyd, welcome to the show. I really appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited.
Absolutely, absolutely. So as I mentioned, I've had a lot of experience at Allen American games, the Rough Riders games. So for those that haven't been to those particular type of games and you're in hosting, tell us a little about your experience, not just in the in-game hosting, but also DFW sports in general.
Let's see. I love going to those games.
Yeah.
But my experience in that's like such a big question.
Well, just when you first
Really,
got started, and what made you get into that?
yeah, okay. So I was on the Rough Riders entertainment crew
Mm-hmm.
for a handful of years. Never thought about hosting, but I love doing like the field producing behind the scenes stuff. And then one day our host was gone, and I was like, hey, I've never done this, but can I do it? And so
Yeah.
they let me do that, basically, long story short, and then they asked me to host the rest of the season. So that's how it started and like how I knew I loved it.
That's awesome. Yeah. So growing up, did you play a lot of sports? Or were you around sports?
I was a competitive gymnast, so
Oh, okay.
yeah, that's like eats up your life. So when I was younger, I did tennis, but I'm not a tennis player. But then I found gymnastics, and I was like, okay, this is it. So that was my sport that I played. But I loved watching sports, and I'm so competitive. Like both my parents played sports, so really, even just other than sports, like the competition, it's just so much fun. So I was definitely around it a lot.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's always when we talk about sports, it's always we start talking about like, well, what do a lot of the athletes, what do they do on their spare time? Usually watching movies. Majority of them are always going to say listening to music, right? Something that gets them pumped up. So when it comes to your genre of music, what do you like listening to, and what are some of your favorite songs that you rock out to?
That's a great question because music's my favorite thing.
Mm-hmm.
I love classic rock's my favorite, so I love Zeppelin.
Oh, okay.
And the Stones, and then like on the newer end of things, got my AFI. I have two AFI
Uh huh.
tattoos, like old school AFI, like
Mm-hmm.
Black Sails in the Sunset, Sing the Sorrow. I love Fair to Midland. Newer, I love Bad Omens. Um,
Okay.
they really just pack a punch.
Love
But
it. Love
I
it.
just, I respect all music, even the kind I'm not into. I'm like, that's somebody's art, So I'm like, good for you.
Yeah.
But mostly rock and roll is my thing.
Okay, that's pretty good. I'm so random. My playlists are crazy. I mean, I could go from underground hip hop, commercial hip hop, 1990s West Coast gangster rap, and then I could
Yeah.
go the old school classics, throw in some Bon Jovi, some Green Day, and then I'm always a sucker for Luther Vandross, Marvin Gaye. So
Mm,
I, I
yeah.
I definitely am with you when I say I respect all genres of music for sure.
Yeah. And I love like Candlebox, old school
Hmm.
Candlebox. But as far as like the mixing the random playlist, for some reason I know every word to Logic's Under Pressure album.
Oh,
That's like on the opposite side of things. But
got you.
yeah, I'll listen to whatever you send me, basically.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's pretty good. Do you have like, or do you, in your Apple Music or wherever you listen to, do you list them as certain playlists, or you just have it like random?
I just go in and listen.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Now, I don't want to call it an off season because I'm pretty sure you never have an off season. I mean, I've seen how busy you've been, pretty much. But when it comes to getting away, either in the DFW area or whatever, what do you do as far as relaxation or just to kind of clear your mind, get some type of rest?
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know, do I do that?
Yeah.
I love the outdoors. I love hiking and camping. I camped with a friend in the Grand Canyon last October.
Ooh, I
There's
haven't
a place
been.
to do
I've
that.
never been. That's bucket
Yeah,
list
that
for
was
me.
my first time. But I love the outdoors. And it was like one of those things we drove. There's no service for 8 days. We were like, if no one finds us, if we pop a tire, who knows what's going to happen. But I love being outside with nature and all the animals. So that's definitely my relaxing. Or like going to shows.
Yeah.
So
Well, speaking of shows, what's one of those venues across the world that you've never been to that you want to watch a show at? I mean, there's so many venues. It could be mostly music, of course, but I'm sure you have a few for sports as well. But what would you listen to as far as a venue for music?
yeah, I definitely Red Rocks.
Oh yeah.
Um, which I went to. I watched the sunrise there once. It wasn't for a show. I just visited. But I feel like that's on everyone's list, you know?
Yeah.
So that's definitely probably number one. It's the first one that comes to mind. But then again, I'll say wherever you take me. Like,
Yeah, pretty
yeah.
much. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
I'm I'm really into, like, I've been watching a lot of documentaries of the old school festivals, the Woodstocks and everything. So
Yeah.
so I'm always into I do want to watch a concert in either United Kingdom or somewhere like that. I want to go overseas and watch something. I mean, and again, it'll depend on the band. It'll depend on what's the lineup, but that's
Yeah.
definitely bucket list for me.
Oh, yeah. That's amazing. I'll add that to mine, too.
hmm Have you have you ever been to the they call it, what is it, the Hollywood Bowl in Los Angeles?
No, I haven't. Have
Okay.
you? You
Yeah,
probably have.
I've been one time. One time I used to live in Los Angeles,
Yeah.
2011. Yeah. So we saw Yellow Card. Yellow Card
Oh,
was
wow.
headlining. Yeah. It's pretty
Was
cool.
that good? Probably.
Yeah, I mean it was just like a jam-packed night. It actually took us longer to get into the venue with the parking situation.
Oh, my
That anybody
gosh.
that knows that lives around the area, they've improved it over the years, but before, I mean, it was just a traffic jam, just because they
Wow.
have it where it's like it merges. It's like there's the freeway coming out and then only one way going in with the street. So it's like it just gets jammed there, and
Ooh,
they
yeah,
don't do a good
but
job.
maybe that
Yeah.
makes it more worth it, though, when you're in there.
That's what I'm saying. Once I got in there, I was like, oh, okay, this is good.
Yeah.
So I do know that you are a musician. So tell me a little bit about your music. Where do you get the inspiration from? And then, of course, where do you draw that from? Like maybe your collection of like you said,
Mhm.
classic rock. Yeah, tell us a little bit about that.
Well, my favorite music to make is also rock,
Okay.
but I do love acoustic because
Mm.
I'm a lyricist. I love the writing and the poetry of it. But I am starting to play duo shows with my guitarist. We're doing some acoustic stuff this summer, so
Mm-hmm.
kind of the heavy stuff, and then take a break, and then really just kind of focus on the raw like songs and the singing, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So kind of a little of both, but definitely rock's my favorite. But I feel like my writing style, it goes good with acoustic because, like I said, I love writing lyrics and poetry, so I think that complements it well. And then as far as inspirations for that, AFI
Uh-huh.
again,
Yeah.
Davey Havok. Because when I was like a kid hiding my CDs from my mom,
Mm-hmm.
because she was like, "That's too dark for you." Um, he was such an amazing lyricist. Like I would open the books, like when I would get my CDs, and just read it while he sang it, and like pause it and be like, "I wonder what he meant by that metaphor," you know?
Right. Right.
So yeah, he's definitely an inspiration for like my writing my lyrics.
Yeah. Oh, I remember those days when you opened up your CD and you had the lyrics book inside the cover. I used to do that all the time. I would actually be the one that would, no matter what album I got, I would always read the credits from front
Mhm.
to back just to see what, inspiration, the lyrics, and then also at the very back, like, who that particular type of artist thanked, who was in their life that
Yeah,
made it. So, yeah, that's
and who they
interesting.
said to get tattooed by.
Hey, listen, hey, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Mhm.
Tell me a little bit about your style. I know art and fashion always are, close hand in hand with music, but What would you say in terms of the style that you like to do in terms of performing or just, album covers, things like that you see in the future?
Let's see, style, like I just dark comes to mind.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Everything I own is black pretty much.
Yeah, that's my favorite color too, so.
Yeah, goes with everything. I love like a lot of like rings and necklaces and just I studs and skulls. There are skulls all over my apartment.
Mm-hmm.
So just kind of that edgy style with a little bit of goth in there. And it's weird, like when I say that, people are like, what? Because when I go to work, when I host sports, I'm like taking the eyeliner off, not wearing black all the time.
Hey, well, that's why you're on the Sporting Crashers, because I want people to get to know the other side of you, because they see you in the games, and just the way that you carry yourself, and you're very outgoing. So, like, this particular type of interview is kind of like, well, there's things that you didn't know about her, so
Yeah,
it's good to
a
see.
lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
Surprises people sometimes. But yeah, just I love that edgy, dark style. It's like intriguing too.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
and like I get all my stuff at thrift stores pretty much, just like piecing it together.
Okay. So I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure I know the answer to this one, but I just wanted to go back to, because I know I asked about concerts. What was maybe your first concert you went to? And then of course your best is probably an AFI performance. But yeah, tell me a little bit about that.
People ask me that, like, what my first concert was. I have no idea. I don't
Oh,
remember
okay. Wow.
because I was so young, and it was probably something I didn't enjoy. I don't know, but I just loved music. I wasn't really allowed to listen to much music growing up, so I think that's one of the reasons when I found it, I was just like, oh, give me more. But what I was allowed to listen to, like I don't know, a lot of hymns and stuff. Like
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I don't remember my first concert. I wish I did, and I could say like, oh, I'm so cool. I went to this as my first concert.
Well, what's your
But
most memorable concert then?
I saw AFI.
Hmm.
Follow me on Instagram. You know this, but
Sure, I do. Yeah.
I'm like talking about it all the time. But yeah, I went to see AFI's 20th anniversary tour for their Sing the Sorrow album,
Oh,
which is
cool.
staring at me right there. And like it was such a big deal to me, and I like sewed my own dress for that. I should have mentioned that, huh? Um, I sew a lot of my own clothes,
Oh,
but
that's cool. See, that's important. That's part of that
yeah,
style. Original.
that's me. Because sometimes I'm like, if you have a style in your head and you can't find it, I was just like, one day I was like, why don't I just learn to sew and sew my
Hmm.
own stuff, you know? But yeah, that AFI show. Then of course I got it. It's hard to see, but tattooed, and it has "Sing with Sorrow" and the date right
Hmm. The
there.
date. Yeah.
Um, so that was one of the best. Every time I see Candlebox, I was invited to sing with them because Kevin saw a cover I did of his songs, and I about died. Oh my gosh, I was so nervous. Like I thought I was gonna die. So Candlebox, Phil Collins was one of my favorites to see live. I took myself on a date to see Phil Collins. I was like, I want to be alone. I want to cry. I want to like
Yeah, I do
sing
like Phil
along.
Collins. I didn't get a chance to see him live, but I had a lot of his albums.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what his
mostly
tar-
through my dad. Yeah,
what?
I say mostly through my dad. My dad had the old school 33 vinyls, so he would
Mm,
have a pretty good collection. Phil Collins
yeah,
is one of them.
but Phil Collins, like his Tarzan album is one of my favorite albums, which is
Hmm.
random. But I'm like, you didn't have to go that hard, Phil, and he did.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So for everybody that follows you on social media, we see a lot of artistic posing, modeling, and things like that. Are you pursuing something like that as well, or is it in addition to the music, or how do you see that going on in terms of how you'll continue to do that?
That's just on the side
Hmm.
and in like favors for friends type thing. But I do have an agent for stuff like that when I have the time, which I don't have a lot of time. But occasionally, I'll do some shoot. I was in a Jack in the Box commercial where I skateboarded, so that wasn't really modeling. I was modeling a jackhead, but
Oh, okay.
as far as like it was so much fun though. Like in that kind of business realm, like
Right.
you have fun with that sometimes. And if they're like, "Hey, can you skate?" then I was like, heck yeah, I'm auditioning for this. And it was so random, but it was so fun. I loved it.
That's cool. So branding obviously is one of the most important things as far as music or anything that you're looking to do. Tell me more about your branding and what you're looking to do, and where people can find your music. Are you doing any upcoming shows? While you squeeze it in with how busy you are.
Yeah, crazy. Well, yeah, my music is under She Is Floyd
Hmm.
because that's me. Um, and yeah, I have some acoustic shows coming up in, oh my gosh, is it? It's not August yet. Okay, my brain. Uh, but in August and September, so I would say just keep up with my Instagram, which is also She Is Floyd. So all my socials and like Spotify is She Is Floyd, and that's where I update people. Really is on Instagram. So yeah,
That's that's
but
that's
I want to
cool.
keep
Yeah.
pursuing that. That's the love of my life, and until then, I love doing what I do with sports too.
Hmm.
So back and forth, kind of.
Yeah. Do you have any additional plans 2024? I know it's coming up pretty quick, so I know you always go from one season to the other. I mean, you're pretty much in addition to it, whatever. But what about starting January 2024? You taking on any upcoming projects?
Let's see. Well, I'm gonna keep doing music, obviously, but as far as like season hopping, I was just asked to do SMU football, which
Okay.
does, I mean, that's like next step, and then SMU basketball, so that'll carry on.
Awesome. Pony up. SMU. Shout
Yeah,
out. Shout out.
yeah, and my sister
Cool.
went there too for law school, so she's
Oh, okay.
stoked about that. Um, and I don't know, wherever the wind takes me,
That's cool.
I'm always networking and like, hey, you need a host, and it's worked out so far. So,
That's
yeah.
important. That's important. I want to know. I always ask people this question because I want to know where their mind is at. If you could travel anywhere in the world, what's a bucket list? What's one of those spots that you're just like, no matter what, I want to go to?
I'm going to Greece. I don't know how or when or why, but I have always wanted to go to Greece and just jump in the blue water and have
Hmm.
a nice Greek salad. Um, yeah, so that's always been number one. I don't know anyone who's been there and was like, you have to go. I don't know. I really want to go. What about
I
you?
heard. Yeah. So my older sister been to. She went to Santorini and Mykonos and loved it. Um,
Yeah.
I'm one of those guys that I want to go to Europe. I haven't been before, so that's somewhere there. I do want to go to the Maldives. That's definitely someone. But also on my list is Spain, the Basque Country, Barcelona, but also Morocco. I heard Morocco is really
Mm.
nice. So hopefully soon. That's definitely on
Yeah,
my bucket list.
anything can happen. That's
Absolutely.
awesome. I love
Yeah.
traveling. It's like I don't. It's weird because I haven't done a lot of it. I have been to London, which I loved, um, but I still say traveling is one of my favorite things because I know it will be.
Hmm.
Even if
Right.
it's just little road trips, I love it. So I can't wait to see I don't know where I go in the future.
That's important. So you're at a venue, you're at a sporting game, you're a fan. What's your go-to order to eat? What do you prefer?
Oh, nothing because I'm vegan. I can't eat anything.
Oh,
I can't eat anything. Um,
wow. I think I read that. Yeah, I think I saw that on one of your posts.
yeah, if there's fries, then I'll get fries.
Okay.
I don't know. I'll do the peanuts and
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know. I can't really do a lot of the fun stuff.
So,
But
so a lot of like what you eat is pretty much home cooked, right? I mean, you
yes,
pretty
I
much have
love
to.
that's one of my
Awesome.
hobbies. Even though
Mm-hmm.
like I'll get off late from hosting sports, I'm like, oh, what am I gonna cook tonight? And then I'm up till 3, and I'm like, what am I doing? Um, but yeah, I love cooking so much, and I cook. My parents actually live in my apartment complex,
Oh, okay.
so I just like run down, find their place, and be like, hey, I cooked. You want to come over and try like my new recipe? So that's really fun. But I'll cook for anybody.
Well, I respect that vegan life. I'll tell you right now. That's definitely it's a challenge, but I'm sure it's rewarding, especially with a lot of things going on with health complications for everybody. It's been around, so that's great. That's great to hear. What's your favorite vegan meal?
I cook a really bomb fettuccine alfredo. That's all
Oh, okay.
vegan. Yeah, it's cashew based, and my mom was like, "I swear there's cream in this," and I was like, "That's what I like to hear." But um, and I love pasta, so anything I can dress up pasta with.
Mm-hmm.
Favorite.
Okay. Awesome. Hey, that sounds good. There's so I have some cousins that live in California, and one time, a few years ago, I went to go and visit them, and they brought over a casserole that was a lasagna, but it was vegan, and it was based off of mushroom, and it was
Mm.
like it really was good. I mean, I was sitting here like, yo, I'm about to go and get another plate. This is that
Yeah,
good. It's that good,
you're like,
and
who
I,
am I?
the thing is that it's one of those things that you really don't know until you eat it, and I'm sure the preparation is completely different, of course. But I mean, I'm like, can I eat it? Yeah, I can eat it. Can I prepare for it? I'm pretty sure at some point I will. I've slowed down on a lot of things that I used to eat when I was younger because just health complications. But I'm good now. But that's why I respect that lifestyle for real because I know how difficult it is, but not necessarily from a standpoint that people think. Like people's assumptions are usually like, oh, it won't taste good, or it doesn't have
Yeah.
the flavor. When it's like, no, I've tried it before. I went, I got 2 plates of it. I mean, even though it was completely different, I was like, I would have never imagined I liked it, but it was like so good.
Yeah, and I don't know, I've been vegan for years, but
Mm-hmm.
the way you look at food obviously is so different because you're like conscious of everything you put in your body.
Sure.
'Cause so I like when people give it a chance. I'm like, you don't have to love it, just give it a chance.
Give it a Yeah, that's true. Give it a chance. That's true. I respect that. So anyway, first of all, thank you so much for being on the show. Really appreciate you being here. Um, if people want to follow you on social media platforms, go ahead and give us out some of your social media links and things like that.
Yeah, so everything is under She is Floyd. YouTube, Instagram, Spotify. I don't really use Twitter, but I got it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, anything, if you're looking for me, just She is Floyd. I'm mostly active on Instagram. And that is where I will shout out like where I'm playing shows, stuff like that.
Okay. Okay. So I'm assuming the website's coming soon, where you'll display some of the music.
Yeah, I had a website for a while, but then I was like, I keep people updated on Instagram more.
Yeah, everything's social media. Yeah, that's
Yeah, and
that's
it's
pretty
easier
much how we do it.
to connect with people too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, sticking with that for now.
All right, perfect. Well, thanks again for being here. You will
Yeah.
definitely see me at a bunch of Allen American games this year. I have a pretty busy fall winter schedule, but looking forward to speaking to you soon, and we will definitely
Yeah.
catch you at the next game.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was fun. I'm glad we could finally do this.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, take care, and I can't wait to listen to your music. So take care. We'll
All
talk soon.
right, you too.
All right,
Thanks.
you're welcome. We'll stay tuned. We'll be right back. As they say in show business, that's a wrap. Episode 7 completed. I'm excited about it. I hope that everybody that is watching really enjoyed our conversations. Wanted to first of all give a shout out and a special thank you to Jessica Holland of Keller Williams Realty, our sponsor of the Sporting Crashers podcast. It wouldn't be able to be done without you. So thank you very much in regards of everything that she's done for the podcast. Also, thank you to our 2 special guests, Floyd. Amazing catching up with you. I'm definitely a sucker of the teams that she is able to do the in-game hosting. Definitely love those Allen Americans, Frisco Rough Riders, and then of course SMU Mustangs right now. Looking hot out there in the NCAA season for football. Also, thank you Bunmi Rotimi being on the show. A little bit of that championship level, a little championship presence. XFL. Look forward to next season, man. Gonna be a special season, special player, special person. So thank you so much for blessing the Sporting Crashers podcast. Stay tuned for episode 8. I will give all the contact details, all that information as soon as we're done with the recording and who will be on. For now, live, laugh, love. Everybody be blessed. Thank you again for supporting the Sporting Crashers podcast.